The time is 12 o'clock. Good afternoon. Here is the 12 o'clock edition of the Network News. Monsoon rains worsened by Super Typhoon Odette pounded parts of the country for the third day yesterday, causing floods and landslides that left 32 people dead and others stranded on rooftops. Officials said the most severely affected area was Zambales, some 80 kilometers northwest of Manila, where heavy rains caused rain-soaked soil to cascade down. Civil Defense Director Nigel Lontoc said the floods and landslides killed 17 people in different parts of the province. Lontoc said the victims may have all been asleep when the soil, weakened by the overnight rain, slid down the mountains. A 67-year-old woman, meanwhile, drowned when her home was submerged by a flood in Olongapo City, also in Zambales. Mayor J. Konghun of Subic, where most of the victims died, said the heavy rains and chest-deep floods isolated the town of 160,000. Malacanang has assured that help is on the way for victims of landslides in Subic, Zambales. Marie Ruiz reports.
Presidential spokesman Edwin Lacerda says representatives from the National Disaster Risk Reduction Management Council have been trying to reach Subic since yesterday. They were unable to do so because roads were unpassable. He says today roads leading to Subic are open and the Department of Social Welfare and Development will be able to provide relief. Lacerda was responding to complaints of the Subic local government that they are not being assisted by the national government. Marie Peña Ruiz for PBS News.
The director of the Police Community Relations Group, or PCRG, of the Philippine National Police, or PNP, held a meeting with representatives of the different security agencies in the city on possible new threats against Zamboanga. PCRG Director Sonny Yanga David briefed the representatives of the security agencies on what may become a new approach of violence in the city. He called for an increased awareness on proper detection and response to possible improvised explosive devices in their respective areas of responsibility. David said security guards should be prepared to serve as force multiplier of the military and the police in times of emergency. He added that the guards securing the different business establishments in Zamboanga should also be knowledgeable on the proper response in the event a suspected IED is found in their area. More than 60% of metropolitan Manila are considered to be flood multi-hazard zone. Alvin Baltazar reports.
This was the statement made by Laguna Lake Development Authority General Manager Neri Acosta in the wake of the seemingly deteriorating situation of floodings at the National Capital Region. According to Acosta, even the province of Laguna is not spared from the aggravating flood situation. Acosta stressed that immediate action must be done as red flood hazard areas are swiftly expanding. The solution, the creation of a 46-kilometer mega dike which would be connected to C6 to Calamba and Los Baños, Laguna. Simultaneous to such measure, Acosta said that it is a must that informal settlers living along waterways must be relocated and that political will on this matter must be exercised by the LGUs. Alvin Baltasar for PBS News.
The National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council, or NDRRMC, said the death toll from Typhoon Odette rose to 3. The NDRRMC identified the latest fatality as drowning victim Nonilon Mercado of Barangay Pagasa, Taizon, Batangas. Meanwhile, the NDRRMC said Imar Pintazon, who was earlier reported missing, had been rescued by a village official of Barangay Yabawon, Banton, Romblon. The NDRRMC said Typhoon Odette had affected at least 10,460 families, or 47,914 people in 94 villages, in 23 towns and 2 cities in 11 provinces of Ilocos, Cagayan Valley, Central Luzon, Mimaropa, Bicol, Western Visayas, and Cordillera. Of these, 56 families, or 159 people, are staying in 3 evacuation centers. Also, 52 houses were destroyed, while 175 were damaged by the typhoon. The Armed Forces of the Philippines Educational Benefits System Office, or AFP-EBSO, is now processing the scholarship grants of the children of soldiers who were killed in action in Zamboanga City. Again, Alvin Baltazar reports.
AFPEPSO head Colonel Manuel Secatin said that beneficiaries must complete all the needed requirements so they could avail of the free tuition fee and allowance amounting to as much as 8,000 pesos. Secatin assures that the scholarship grant will be given to the beneficiary until he finishes his or her study in college. At present, the AFP has 4,360 scholars nationwide, of which half of it are children of soldiers killed in action. Alvin Baltasar for PBS News.
While the weather may have seemingly improved over metropolitan Manila and other parts of Luzon, heavy rains in the afternoon and evening may be expected today. Pagasa forecaster Connie Dadivas said the rains will also be felt in Calabarzon and metropolitan Manila. Dadivas also said the southwest monsoon would continue to affect Luzon. Tuesday's rains have so far been light to moderate compared to Monday's downpour, which flooded several parts of Luzon, including metropolitan Manila. Meanwhile, Dadivas said Storm Pabuk, which had been enhancing the southwest monsoon, now had a slim chance of entering the Philippine area of responsibility as it was too far to the north. Dadivas added that they are monitoring a cloud cluster west of Luzon that may form into a low-pressure area. Senator Teofisto Gingona, chairman of the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee, today compelled Justice Secretary Laila de Lima to bring with her the whistleblowers in the 10 billion peso pork barrel scam in the chamber's next hearing on Thursday. Jojo Ismail reports.
This developed after the invited whistleblowers failed to appear into this resumption of the Blue Ribbon Committee's inquiry into the alleged 10 billion pesos pork barrel fund scam. Into this hearing, Justice Secretary Laila de Lima told Gingona that she did not bring the whistleblowers with her because they will also stand as witnesses before the Ombudsman on the same issue, and that their appearance before the committee might preempt the Ombudsman's inquiry. Gingona refused to accept the reasons given by the Justice Secretary as he bared that he is issuing subpoenas to compel the whistleblowers to be present on the next hearing set for Thursday. Among those whistleblowers to be subpoenaed by the committee include Benhar Loy, Gertrudis Loy, Marina Sula, and Meldina Sonia. For PBS News, George Ismael, Senate.
Charges have been filed against the 6 suspects in the killing of advertising executive Cristel Davantes. According to Police Public Information Chief Senior Superintendent Ruben Sindak, the CIDG filed cases for violation of Republic Act No. 6539, or the Anti-Carnapping Act, and Article 294 of the Revised Penal Code, or robbery with homicide, against suspects Reggie Diel, under arrest, Lloyd Benedict Enriquez, under arrest, Samuel Decimo, under the custody of the National Bureau of Investigation, Kelvin Jorek Evangelista, at large, Jomar Pepito at large, and Basser Minalang at large. Sindak said Diel and Enriquez are being detained at the Southern Metropolitan Manila CIDG pending the approval of the Chief State Prosecutor. The Department of Energy is preparing amendments to the Electric Power Industry Reform Act of 2001. Albert Sebastian reports.
The move seeks to give the government the ability to put up a power plant that would act as a standby reserve in case of power shortages. Energy Secretary Carlos Jericho Petilla said that the ideal situation is for government to be able to operate a plant even for just 1 or 2 hours a day or when the need arises. However, at present, the EPIRA prevents the government to have its own power plant given the law's mandate to privatize the state power sector and ease the financial burden on state coffers brought about by running power plants. The Asian Development Bank is currently doing a study on EPIRA amendments. Petilla is eyeing to file the EPIRA amendments in the first quarter of next year. Passed in 2001, EPIRA, or Republic Act 9136, mandated reforms in the power sector, including the creation of the Power Sector Assets and Liabilities Management Corporation, or PSAM, which was designated to handle and dispose the assets of the National Power Corporation, or NAPOCOR. This is Albert Sebastian reporting for PBS News.
Shortly after releasing at least 13 hostages before dawn, a secessionist splinter group this morning resumed fighting with government troops. Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP Public Affairs Unit Deputy Head Angelo Guzman, said the fighting was ongoing in Tulunan, Cotabato, but he maintained the safety of civilians will be their priority. For his part, Tulunan Police Head Rolando Dillera said the firefight erupted after 200 BIFF gunmen stormed the banana processing plant owned by Del Monte Philippines at Sitio Mangco, Barangay Dungos. Dillera said alert security guards of the company were able to fire back at the attackers before government security forces arrived. Dillera said the attackers were led by Commander Sukarno Hussein and Commander Brudi Sultan, who are both under BIFF leader Commander Umbracato. To ensure sex for fly controversy will not happen again, Labor and Employment Secretary Rosalinda Baldos has assigned 6 new overseas personnel in the Philippine Overseas Labor Offices in the Middle East. Melanie Baldos reports.
4 of them are women and tasked to attend to the welfare and protection of all OFWs, including distressed female overseas Filipino workers. Baldo said the first batch of female overseas personnel will man the Polo and assist in the Polo's daily operation. They will be stationed in Jordan, Riyadh, and Jeddah, Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and Kuwait. The labor chief stressed more female welfare officers will be deployed before the month's end. Melanie Baldos reporting for PBS News.
The Senate Blue Ribbon Committee this morning conducted its 4th hearing on the alleged 10 billion peso pork barrel scam. Only Justice Secretary Laila de Lima attended the hearing. Whistleblowers Benher Luy and Merlina Suñas were expected to attend but did not show up. De Lima said that it is up to the Office of the Ombudsman to decide if the whistleblowers can attend the Senate probe. De Lima said plunder complaints were already filed last week before the office against those allegedly involved in the supposed scam. Among those implicated were Senators Jose Estrada, Juan Ponce Enrile, and Ramon Revilla Jr. Businesswoman Janet Napoles, alleged mastermind of the scam, is also facing a plunder complaint. At least 13 civilians abducted by the Bangsamoro Islamic Freedom Fighters, or BIFF, in Midsayap, Cotabato have been released. Philippine Army 7th Civil Relations Group Commander Harold Cabunok said the 13 were released were 9 school teachers and 4 village officials who were abducted in Midsayap by the BIFF. For its part, the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, said the 9 teachers were brought to the Amado Hospital in Midsayap for a medical checkup. Meanwhile, Cotabato Governor Emilu Mendoza said the Midsayap Local Government and Crisis Management Committee had no recommendation to suspend classes in the town. Cabunok said the BIFF abducted 16 people during the Midsayap clash, leaving 3 soldiers dead. The Philippine National Police Criminal Investigation and Detection Group, or PNP-CIDG, announced that charges have been filed against Moro National Liberation Front, or MNLF members who took part in the Zamboanga City standoff. Chief Inspector Elizabeth Hasmin, the agency spokesperson, said the CIDG Region 9 filed cases for violations of Article 135 or rebellion and Republic Act 9851 or crimes against international humanitarian law against MNLF commanders Ustads Javier Malik, Asamin Hussein, Bas Arki, and Haji Ajirin, and 25 others. A number of MNLF fighters in Zamboanga were arrested and detained at the Zamboanga City Police Station. Hasmin added that charges were also filed against an undetermined number of John Does and Jane Does. And with that, we conclude the 12 o'clock edition of the Network News. This is Bon Vibar reporting.
This is Business Radio.
The time is 15 and a half minutes after 12.